Welcome everyone to our kickoff meeting for 2021 for our ARE 5.0 community. And the thing we wanted to do differently this year is we want to start a community instead of just doing lectures, and have like more of a study groups and have us really all helping each other to, pass these exams. So I'll start with a little introduction. So my name is Mohammed Sidki. I'm the president for AIA, San Mateo County. I'm a California licensed architect. I work as a project architect with DES architects and engineers. I've served on various roles in the past on the AIA San Mateo County chapter, including the Emerging Professionals Director, and that's when we started the whole AREs a few years ago. Vice President, I was the Design Award Chair last year, and I'm a SAP Evaluator. Now, next, I will introduce our VIP speaker. So that's Mariella Feng Mahmoud. She is a licensed architect in Argentina and California. Born in Argentina and raised in Germany, she brings rich and diverse background, strong technical expertise, and a lifelong passion for modern architecture. Since 2008, she has been the lead designer at 360 Design Studio, where her main focus is residential architecture. Other titles she proudly holds includes a traveler, Apple straddler, baker, Barca fan, mentor, and mom. Mariella navigated through multiple versions of the AREs and is delighted to support others on their journey to licensure. So I'll give it to Mariella to say maybe a few words. And
thank you, Mohammed, for the introduction. That was wonderful. I'm very happy to be here, and I would love to hear about you. Yes, Barca fan is, I love that you guys are using the chat. This is wonderful. Barca is the soccer team where Messi plays. Messi is one of the best soccer players in the world, and he practices with his team. And this is very important for me because that was how I practiced with my team for every single of the exams. And it's a lot better to practice in a team than all by yourself. So can you please write in the chat where you are located? You guys know we are in San Mateo County, Northern California. Yes, we have a lot of Messi shirts here.
Yeah, so put your, where are you located? And
there it is in Brentwood, Pasadena, San Francisco, Redwood City, San Bruno, Santa Cruz, Irvine, Sunnyvale, San Carlos, Menlo Park, Palo Alto. Lots of people from lots of places. Can you tell me, please, who is working from home these days? Who is working from home? Can you make a thumbs up? Nancy is working from home 4 or 5 days a week. Mark, Sean, everyone working from home. Yeah. So architecture, you guys, I'm sure you will find it as collaborative as we all know it is. And this working from home is very different than what we have usually been doing this whole time. Viviana, both in the office and awful Wi-Fi. I see, I hear you. Viviana. Hessen, I am all week, I guess at home, yeah. Okay, wonderful. One last question from everyone. Can you type in there how many years of experience you have and in which area of work? For example, I would put 16 years residential. Let us know each other a little better and know what are we used to do at work every day, or where we feel more comfortable with. Where is our area of comfort in the knowledge? 2 years residential, 5 years commercial and retail, 5 years healthcare, mixed use, master planning, wow, education, residential, single family, I guess, Olivia. Yeah. Nice. What is R&D? Mhm.
So that's research and development.
Research and development, yes. Design build, oh, that's fun. 7 years, mostly commercial, higher education, project manager, higher education, mixed use in India. Wow. 13 years. Lots of knowledge in this group and very diverse knowledge.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Okay, keep the conversation going. I'll just kind of start with some chapter announcements. So first of all, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, that's Heather Young Architects, sponsor for the ARE series sponsor, and then DES Architects and Engineers, ARE series sponsors, and for Romig Engineer, Gold Chapter sponsor, and Da Vinci Marble, our Silver Chapter sponsor. Now, a little bit about our AIA Emerging Professionals Committee, which is the committee that's where we do the ARE study sessions. We used to do project construction tours and project tours, and hopefully we'll go back to these tours, firm tours, mentorship program, and so many other things. And this is really an open invitation if you want to join the Emerging Professionals Committee, or if you finished any of your exams and you want to co-host a session, please just reach out to me. We'll be more than happy to have you with us. And in addition to the Emerging Professional Committee, we have 8 committees in the chapter. So if any of these committees, between Committee on the Environment, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, Housing, Scholarship, Communication, Advocacy, Sponsorships, if any of these really ignite your passion, you want to take some leadership role maybe in it, or help out in it, just let me know, just reach out to me. Now, for today, we said the goal is to create a community of architects who are actively pursuing their licensure, and for all of us to help each other pass the exams. And again, I'm just repeating this. If you have passed any of your exams and you would like to co-host a session this year, share your knowledge, because really this is all about knowledge sharing between all of us. And the best knowledge sharing is for someone who just passed their exam. So just reach out to me or to Mariella, and we'll coordinate that. So today's session structure will have 3 points. We'll start with a conversation that Mariella already started to get to know each other and understand where everyone is in the process. We'll use the chat and we'll take some polls. And Mariella will be talking about mindset, how to set myself up for success. Then we'll have an overview of the ARE 5.0 exam, so all 6 sessions. And then we'll do the study group. So we'll be dividing all of you into breakout rooms where we so each let's say each group who are studying for the same exam will be in the same breakout rooms, and then you can talk and maybe start like a study group, because that would be the best approach to tackle the AREs. So we'll start with the first poll, and do you see the poll on the screen? Okay, so the first one is saying, have you established your eligibility, or are you able to schedule your next exam? So basically, if you are going to NCAR website, can you just hit schedule exam and select a date or not? Just want to see that. And the whole idea, if we have many people who have not started their eligibility, we can follow up with another session for path to licensure, so we can talk about that. Now, I think we have 76% voted, 80%.
Does it count you and me also?
Maybe, no, it should not, because I don't see, I cannot select the poll. I can just start.
Okay.
84%, 88%. We have only 3 people who haven't voted yet. Okay, so I'll stop this in another 5 seconds. And polling.
So it looks like the majority has already established eligibility, right?
Yeah, so it looks like we have 3 people who have not established their eligibility. So I think if we only have 3, it may make sense to have a one-on-one. Just email me. You have my email address, and I will be share it. Just email me, and we can I'll be more than happy to kind of have a phone call with you, and or like a little Zoom session, and see where are you with your eligibility. If you need any help, like feel free to contact me. So that's the first poll. I'm glad the majority can actually do their. Let me launch the second one. Okay, so the second one is how many AREs exams have you passed? So just pick a number from 0 to 5.
So do you have 6 there? Is that including CSE?
I do have 6. 6 is just the full AREs. I'll be surprised if someone have passed all his AREs and he's still attending. But that would be a good candidate for
the next chat.
For the next chat, or to help us out. So it feels like we have 18 people. Let me take a snap of this result. So 18 people.
Oh, you have that there?
Yeah, let me just save this.
I see Elizabeth joined us, and she's sharing how many years she has of experience.
So these are the results. We basically have 70. It looks like 18 people have not, haven't started.
Okay.
Yet, and then we have 2 who have. We have like 2 people who have passed 1 exam. We have 3 who have passed 3 exams. That's great. And then we have 1 who have passed 4 exams. It's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so that's good.
Okay.
And I saved the results. Okay, so now I will give it again to Mariella to talk about the 3 different approaches for studying.
So I have seen and I have been in different moments of my study process in 3 different approaches. If there is more situations that different than this, I would love to hear, but just in general, there is one approach. I study very, very hard for a period of time, and then I'm burned out and take long breaks in between. This exactly that happened to me when I started AIA 3.0 with the hardest exam structures. And I studied so hard that I passed, but then I was burned out and couldn't gather myself again for the next one. And then life comes in between, and then I lose momentum and focus and all of that. You guys know what I'm talking about. Second approach, life is too busy. I will fit the exams in between other stuff. And then comes work, deadlines, family events, friends. And if we fit it in whenever we can and don't focus on it, then we are like a leaf in the wind. And we may or may not get to study and get to actually pass and focus. And the third approach, and this one is the one that really worked for me, is to prioritize, sacrifice other things and just make it happen. And when I did this, I started seeing growth. I started learning a lot more. I started managing myself a lot better, my time, my focus, and my space to do this. I also missed soccer games from my kids, movies and Netflix, gathering with my friends. But it was temporary and it was worth it. So can you go to the next one, Mohammed? Next slide. So here is a little graphic to share how I felt when I was not focused studying for the AREs, and when I did focus for it and did a big improvement in passing exams. I also reduced the amount of work by then. So I want you guys to think about this. If you want to share it in the chat, you're welcome to share what kind of ARE student you are. And if you don't want to share and want to keep it for yourself, that's perfectly fine too. What kind of student are you and how have you approached these exams to tackle them? Can you go to the next one, Mohammed?
Yes.
So here's something I would like you to take a moment and think. What is something that you have already accomplished that one day was just a dream? And what did it take to make it happen? And tonight, after this meeting, take a time to write it down. What is something that you already accomplished in your life that once before was just a dream? And what did it take to make it happen? You guys know that movie from Rocky, when he finally went up the steps and ran.
I actually still play like the training song, like the training theme song, the movie theme song, whenever I like go out for a run or something, because it's very motivating.
Yeah. So when we look at the exams from the point of view that I have all of this to do, it probably feels daunting. But if you look back to your life, how many other things felt like this, hard to achieve, but you have already achieved and you already accomplished this and you made huge efforts to get to do what you wanted. So next one. So this is another poll. Have you ever failed an ARE exam before? I see that many people haven't started, and there is a few that already took a few exams, so maybe there is.
So I just launched the poll, if you want to.
I'm going to answer this one. I hope it doesn't mess up your numbers.
No, it should be fine. We'll give 10 more seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. Share results. So we have 50. So like almost half, right? More than half.
Almost half. Yeah. I have failed too. I have failed too. And after you do a hard and conscious studying, once you fail, you may not understand at the very beginning why you failed. If you covered all the subjects, you answered all the questions. And when I failed in construction documents, PDD. And I couldn't understand why, because I've been doing construction documents for years. Can you go to the next slide, Mohammed? So here is what FAIL stands for. First attempt in learning. This guy, Bill Gates, says that our most unhappy customers are our greatest sources of learning. This would be an unhappy event to fail. And I've done bootcamp too, and I've talked with many people, some that have failed. And when feeling discouraged and down, people tend to look away. But this is a golden opportunity to learn. There is something to learn here. First of all, what we did before did not work because we didn't pass. So we have to change our strategy. And if we study consciously, then we don't really know in the beginning why we failed. So there is a blind spot somewhere. There is something that we are not seeing. So let's search for it. I wrote down everything I could remember from the exam, everything. And I made that my study guide, especially the subjects where I felt less confident. Also, because English is not my first language, I liked to see the content from a different angle and have someone else narrate the content to me. So I found another third-party provider and just listened to the whole thing again until I found what it was. In my case, I've been doing the same kind of construction documents for residential, worked in with the same team of people for the last 16 years, and I wasn't used to seeing different graphics. When I found that, I asked all my friends that worked in different places to let me use construction documents from different projects and make case studies out of each one, and became fast at finding things in different types of graphics. What was my blind spot, I made it my strength.
Yeah, if I can add to this one, especially for people who've been, like I've been in my firm for 6 years now, so I'm so used to reading the construction drawings that DES would be producing. Sometimes if I look at construction drawings from another architect, it's harder for me really to navigate or to find the information, because my brain always will go to specific areas where I'm expecting to see the information. And the thing with the thing with NCARP is, first of all, you have to open the entire sheet on this small screen, and then you have to keep zooming in and out. And the minute you change, the zooming in and out is gonna like zoom out of the entire drawing. So it's harder to navigate because it's not an actual drawing. Plus, it's sometimes like it's harder to find the information. So as Mariela was saying, maybe just looking at other people drawings, it would help a lot. And this is one of the things that you would find and maybe you'd work on.
This was my weakness. You may be used to reading a lot of different construction documents. You may have another weakness. The title of architect given by NCARP includes all the areas of knowledge that you just posted on the chat and more. And there's so many different ways of working, and the people that write the questions are people from everywhere. The graphics are from everywhere, and we need to gain speed. We need to be fast at finding things in the graphics. And then I would add, schedule the retake, because you are already in battle with this exam, and you are already focused on this one, and you just found what it is that you need to know that you didn't know before. And this is the opportunity to pass. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Things that are important to know. Why it is important for you to make this exam a priority. If you don't know why, you are not going to commit and focus on it. Once you do, you can remain true to yourself and make it a priority. Find support. If you have lived with family, husband, wife, significant other, kids, explain to them that this is temporary and that you need their support for this, to be on the same page with everyone. Surround yourself with like-minded people that are working towards the same goal. This was key for me, for focusing and gathering and tackling subjects that were difficult and just growing momentum and moving forward. Join or create a study group and commit to it. When you are part of a study group, you are responsible for keeping the spirit of everyone in your group. And when you fail to commit to it, you are letting down your group and yourself. Participate in online forums. There is a lot of information online, and people are sharing and asking questions constantly, 24/7. The Facebook groups for ARE and for CSE as well. Honor your journey. Don't waste time comparing yourself to others or thinking how fast you should have done this or why you didn't pass this. We all have different stories and we're doing our best. Next point is make friends with discomfort. We live in a time where everything has to be comfortable and pleasurable. However, things that are discomfortable, even a little painful, actually make us grow. I chose to make studying the best part of my day. I made my space my own, turned on lights, put my favorite music that actually put me to work, got my favorite tea, bought myself to reward myself my favorite markers, pens. It was my time and I got to enjoy it fully. And last but not least, feel gratitude for this that you are giving yourself and that you are able to do. Not everyone has the opportunity to take on a big challenge, to grow, to learn, to become better at their jobs, and to make a lot of friends along the way. At least this is how I felt. What else? Next one. Okay, let's talk about a study system. I encourage you to create a routine that works for you and stick to it. If you decide that working on your exams 2 hours a day from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., let's say, if that works for you, just stick to it. Do not negotiate with yourself every single day because you will lose and then you don't get to do what you actually plan to do. Stick to your plan. Lock in your hours and the materials you covered. This will be tremendous help when you're coming close to the exam. Incorporate variety in your study day. My daily list was the following: 5 practice questions from different sources, 1 research item from my list. I like to research things from different reference books. Instead of reading me from back to back, I would just take one subject and read it from me and then read it from, I don't know, which other book, to see how different authors would explain the same thing. Write 1 question for the next study session, watch 1 video, and join 1 study session. I did not get to do everything every day, but it sure put me to work having this list. Next one is be curious and prioritize understanding. In these exams, they want to know that you can apply the knowledge in different areas in practical ways. Therefore, I found it very useful to research how a system would fail. And here I put like 1 example of how a parapet could fail, different options. And I like to draw on top of it, so I made a photocopy of the Ching book and just worked on it. And another one is to get comfortable with the tools provided during the exam. I used to have the calculator open, the code section open. I don't know if you can have the whiteboard open now also. Anything you can use from the actual exam during your study sessions will save you time because you don't have to figure out where it is. You already know you have been using it all this time. What else? Next one. Oh yeah. So NCAR and the exams. There is variety of question types of graphics as we spoke before. We will be questioned by a diverse group of volunteers. These people write the questions and they come from different backgrounds, different knowledge areas, different ways of thinking, age, gender, religion, ethnicity. This is like in real life, a very diverse experience. And when you write your own questions for others, you put yourself in the shoes of the question writer, which makes you understand the questions even better. And then I invite you to think of the questions like you are playing a treasure hunt. All the information needed to find the answer is given. Nobody is playing tricks with us. We have to find the relevant information. Everything else we need to read through. When you write the question for someone else, the first thing you have in mind is the answer. The answer that you're expecting the person to find. And the next thing you have in mind is, how will I hide it to confuse a little bit or to make the person think? When you write your own answer, your own questions, and you get used to this way of thinking, finding the answers through the questions becomes a lot easier. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Yeah? Good. And then get fast at this. Practice every day. Practice reading speed. Every one of us has the most efficient pace. I didn't want to read things twice, so I found the right pace to read it once, but with enough attention to understand everything. Practice finding keywords and highlight relevant information. What else, Mohammed?
Next.
Next one. Yeah. Okay, and here comes the day before the exam. The day before the exam, we have a battle in the mind with ourselves. Here, it's very useful to go back to your time log and look at all what you have been doing for the past 2 months or more, and how much time you actually spend. And you will be blown away by how much time and effort you put into this. Of course, you could be studying a lot more, because learning is endless. Learning is a lifelong process. But the time to study for an exam has an end, and like everything, and this is good too. So be at peace with your process. You did an awesome job, and now let's see what you can do with the things that you did got to learn. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't think so. In times of when you get nervous, there is this negative inner voice that fills the head with doubts. This is a game of control. Control your mind. You are about to get into battle with, 125 questions. You don't have time for this. You don't have time. So quiet your negative inner voice. Do not go into that rat hole of negative thinking. Does this make sense? Yeah? Good. During the exam, manage yourself. Find the best answer. Trust yourself. Move on. Manage your time, your focus, your pace, and even your anxiety. And don't give up. And fight for every single point. You're not done until you are done. Okay, next one. Okay, here, why does license matter? And Mohammed put here together a list of lots of reasons.
Yeah, so these are like for me, really, the stamp, just having the stamp was like the biggest thing, because like working in architectural firm and being the only one who cannot, or being from the people who cannot put their stamps, like just saying on your LinkedIn account and your social media that you are you are an architect. And the thing really with the title of an architect, for example, we have like someone who graduated nursing school, she can't call herself a nurse. And then if she is a registered nurse, that's like an RN. It's like the next level. For architects, for some reason, and that's how the whole profession is regulated, you graduated architecture school. You knew since you were a kid you wanted to be an architect sometime. And then, graduated architecture school, you are working in an architectural office and dealing with the plan documents, all that things, but you cannot call yourself an architect. So it's just because of all this regulation. So really for me, like this was my biggest reason, is like I'm an architect. I want to call myself an architect, and I want to have a stamp with my name on it. So this was like my biggest reason. And then if you look at this is basically the NCARB and the California Architects Board, main thing with licensing. They say it's to protect health, safety, and welfare of the public. That's why they want to regulate licensing. Now, in addition to that, it really gives you more opportunities and higher income, because in many places, many firms, they look for someone who's a licensed architect. Now, even if you want to take a role of, let's say, a project architect, you cannot be a project architect without being a licensed architect. So you are kind of like at a disadvantage just because you don't have it from the state saying that you are a licensed architect. Authority to stamp drawings, lead and mentor others, elevate the profession, competence, build confidence. I actually saw that in one of the prometric centers. I remember when I was taking my exam, and I really liked it. Help people in need in case of an emergency. So I actually, after getting my license, I did SAP training. And this is basically, you get an ID, you do training, you get an ID whenever there is like a disaster, like the wildfires that happen or any of these things. They will basically deploy you just with the first responders, where you can go on the front line. You basically can put people back into, you would inspect homes and structures, and you say, okay, I think this structure is safe for people to go back in it. And this is really important. And they need this service all the time. But again, without your license, the state cannot certify you. So this is one of the things if you wanted to volunteer and to help others. So really getting this stamp or this license, just passing these exams, opens so many opportunities for you. That's why we really I cannot emphasize how important is this. And for each one of us, really, we have different, let's say, different motivations to get this one. So I'm leaving it in number 12, but it's always good to write your motivation in front of you, so you know that what, this is my highest priority because I really need to get my license.
This is another homework for tonight. Please write down your motivation. Know why this is important to you. On the point number 2, protect health, safety, and welfare of the public. I come from Argentina, and I am not proud to say that some things have not been built properly, and accidents created big casualties. And really, the way the building code is renovated every 3 years here avoids problems like that. If you are grown and raised in the US, you're probably used to it, but don't take it for granted. This doesn't happen in every place in the world.
Agree. Okay, so moving on to, are you ready? Now, just gonna talk a little bit about the past. So if before the exams got computerized, and this is a really important topic or important concept to understand, so you have an idea of why you get different questions in the exam. So in the past, if you ask anyone in your office that took the exam before it used to be computerized, basically the exams used to being offered only once a year, and it's 3 days of exams. People go there from morning till evening. they like 8 hours per day. So 3 days, you take all your exams in 3 days. There weren't, you cannot just schedule this exam or that exam. You basically take all of them in 3 days. Whatever you didn't pass, you pass them all, get your license. Whatever you didn't pass, you wait for the next year. Now, why this is really important to get? Because NCARB exams, what we call them exams, I've seen people who would be going to exam and come back will be like, well, I got questions that were not supposed to be in that exam from like a different exam. And really, even calling them exams is not correct. There is one exam, which is the AIA exam, the architect registration exam, and these are 6 sections in the exam. So NCARB will, and they do that all the time, will overlap the exams, and you are taking, let's say, PCM, practice management, but all of a sudden you are seeing questions from project management and construction evaluation and from all over the place. So if you are only studying for one exam, that's when people have less chances of passing. And when you are studying, when you are combining the right sections, let's say, together, that's when you have like a better opportunity to actually pass the exam. So this is one of the things that NCARB did since they start the computerization of the exams, and everything's computerized now, where you can take your, let's say, a section of exam at any time. People got the impression that, okay, I only need to study for this specific exam, but really you have to study for more than one. Now, does it make sense to study for all of them? I know there are some people and even third-party material out there who would say, yes, the best is to study all 6 exams and take them all together. I don't find that reasonable. I cannot study for all 6 of them and take them all at the same time. I think that's too hard. But one of the things or one of the strategies you can do is take the exams that are sharing, and I'll show the justifications why these exams make sense to study and to take together. So basically the first group, and this feels like one big happy exam. It's like practice management, project management, construction, and evaluation. These 3 would make full sense to start with. So you start studying these 3 exams and you study them together. Although, and I'll show later why, like what is the justification of studying these 3 together. And then PA, you study it by itself, and then project management, the PPD and PDD, you study them together. Because these exams, these groups, have a lot of overlap between them. So studying just focusing on just one of them and going to take the exam, you really have like less chance of passing the exam, and you would be basically wasting your time because it's the same material. So I'll kind of skip just to the justification of it. So this is the first part, the first group of exams. And if we look at before I move, one of the really important, two important documents, like make sure if you are just starting, make sure to download and to go over them, is the ARE 5.0 handbook and the architect registration examination guidelines. These 2 documents, you can find them on NCARB website. Just download them and go through them. And even before each exam, make sure to go through the handbook, look at the resources, and then look at the sections of the exams or what is covered. Don't completely depend on third-party material resources, and I will go over these in a second. So just going for the first 3 exams together, if we are looking at these, so we have practice management, project management, construction, and evaluation. These are the references that are put by NCARB. So NCARB are saying we are getting your questions out of these resources. Now, if you are looking at the resources, you have, for the PCM, like for all of them, you have AIA contract documents. These are shared resources. It's the exact same documents. Basically, you are studying the same resource, but you are taking different exams. So the AIA contract documents really is the most important resource in these 3 exams. And I would say just thoroughly studying the AIA contract document is like maybe 60% of the questions. The second big source here is the Architect Handbook of Professional Practice, and you will see so many of the questions comes from this book, and it's the same book in all 3 of them. It's shared. The third one is like the CSI manual, so this is for the specs, and it's shared between these 2 exams. So you will see that there is this really big overlap between them. And if you're actually studying all these, why are you just taking this exam? Why not just go ahead and take the other two? Now, what is the difference? Why they make them into 3 exams? Because if we look at, we'll start with the practice management. This one, basically, it's the same material, but they are looking, the point of view that you are looking toward the contract and toward all these resources is you as a business owner. So you are someone who is starting a new business, someone who is, and that's the whole idea of practice management. NCARP want to know when you get your license and you want to start your own business, you are starting that in the, like on the right path. So they talk about business organization, how to start that. Are we doing LLC? Are we doing sole proprietorship? And how you're gonna do your office organization? Is it department organization, study organization, you know, your license, your taxes, your payment? Because again, you are thinking of being a business owner and you are looking at billing your client, looking at staffing, looking at making profit to your business, dealing with lawsuits. So all of these are defined in the Architect Handbook of Personal Practice and in like in the AIA contract. Now, this is practice management. If you move on to project management, it's, again, we have the same contracts, the same resources, but now the point of view of the exam, they are looking at you as a project manager. Now, a project manager can also be a business owner. So that's where the whole overlap happened. That's why they would ask you questions from practice management and project management. Now this one, but the main focus is you as a project manager. So the questions is coming to like, do you know how to do a project schedule? What's the difference between different project scheduling, the critical path, you know, how you're gonna coordinate with office staff, with consultants, meetings, anything that happened when in regard to change order. So all these problems on site and changes in the work. Now, so this is project management. Again, you as a project manager. The construction and evaluation, it's again the same category, the same area of the same contracts all over again, but you as a project architect. So now you are dealing with it's mainly the CA phase. This is the construction administration phase. And you are dealing with like application for payment, although application for payment project manager deals with like application for payment. So it's this whole overlap. You as a project architect might be the project manager in the same time. You have the same changes in the work. So they overlap between the project management and the construction and evaluation. So you have the closeout document. So all these things are, again, just going back to what NCARP are expecting you to do. They're expecting you to be very familiar with AIA contract documents and very familiar with the Architect Handbook of Professional Practice. But again, each exam has its own focus. But what makes sense really is to group them together, like study them together, and maybe take them within whatever whatever you feel comfortable with. Let's say you put 2 weeks in between, or you put 2 months in between. That's completely up to you. But study them together really makes sense. Does that make sense so far? Anyone has any questions for these 3? So this is the 3. And for the 72% of you who are starting, I think, and this is my own advice, I think starting with these 3 is better than starting with the hard ones. And you know, some people like to start. So these 3 ones, I would call them like mild, or they're like not as difficult. I mean, all the AREs are difficult, but they are not as difficult as when you move to like the PPD and PDD. And again, this might be different, depend on your experience, but these ones are easier to study. And even their study materials are much less than the study material you need to cover when you are doing these 2 exams. So some people like to tackle the harder exams first and then move to the easier ones. I'm with the opinion that you actually start with the easy ones, because the minute you like that moment when you pass your first exam, you take your first exam and you passed your first exam, it really built a lot of confidence in you to tackle the rest of the exams. Instead of starting with something really hard, maybe you're not gonna pass it, and then you feel well, like maybe this is too hard for me, or you're gonna get busy or something. So I'm with the concept of let's start with the easier ones, and then we build our confidence all the way where we go to the harder ones. Now, when it comes to programming and analysis, which is the second exam, and I'll go over, actually before moving to program and analysis, I'll stay within the practice management. So all these three, they are called the pro practice exam. And again, the whole thing is really one exam with sections. So these three, they feel like one exam, but from three different points of view. So just talking about resources, these are the official resources from NCARB. So if you want to take a screenshot of these, this is what you need to study for all three exams. So I did not divide the references because they overlap. They are sharing the same references. So you need the AIA contract document. I would say this is the most important thing you need. The second most important thing is the Architect Handbook of Professional Practice. The AIA contract document, they are online for free. You can download samples. They are all for free. The Architect Handbook of Professional Practice, maybe try to find it used or ask your firm to buy it. And we'll talk about how to secure more resources. But this is a really good one. The other four are good for all of them, but again, it depends if you are studying the primary resources or the third-party material. But for NCARB, really the questions are coming from the primary resources, not from third-party material. Just wanted to make this clear. So if you actually have access to these resources, you don't need anything else. So these are the NCARB references. This is what officially is what NCARB is actually using to extract the questions. And in many, even if you look at the ARE handbook, when they have a question, they give the answer, and then under the answer they say, well, from the Architect Handbook of Professional Practice, blah, blah, blah. This is how you get the answer. So just look at that one when you are reviewing the guideline, the handbook for the AREs, because they say which reference they actually use to get that specific exam. Now, these are the primary resources for PCM, PGM, and CE. There are the third-party materials, and many of us, including myself, I did use the third-party. I actually used Ballast. I know many people like to use Brightwood. I wouldn't use multiple third-party materials. I think like for this one, I know some people like Brightwood more, some people like Ballast more. But I wouldn't buy both of them, or I wouldn't try to study both of, because that's like a repetitive information. Each one of them really cover, I would say, almost the same information, which what they are getting from the primary resources.
Let me skip in here a second, Mohammed.
Yeah.
I would emphasize that the third-party materials are awesome for practice questions. The theory you already have in the actual reference material, but just reading without applying it to a practical situation, that puts me to sleep right away. But when I have a question where I need to actually understand and apply that, it doesn't matter if I have to go back and read to find the answer. It is still studying, I'm still learning.
And the more questions and answers you do, the better it is, because that's how you learn. And each of these third-party material, they have their exams. Like they have a set of exams. Actually, Ballast have like his practice exams and his practice problems. Now this is a good resource. This is Gang Chen, and he doesn't have an actual study material. Like he just have mock exam, or that's what I know. I've only bought his mock exams. I have not bought any other materials from him. His mock exams are really good, specifically the ones for PDD and PPD. His mock exams are really good, and these are like small, like it's like maybe a 30-page or 40-page handbook. It's small, it's not big, but this is very useful. Like I would highly recommend this one. And there are like the architect exam prep. This is David Doucette, the same guy who has the CSE. So hopefully when you move to CSE, like you will be, so here is the thing. And like one of the good thing about AREs, which is a good thing, and it might be confusing because there are so many third-party studying materials. you have so many studying materials. When you move to CSE, there are really only two. Just because it's a California thing, so there's just David Tussier and Archie Wu. So these are like the only two for CSE, but for AREs there are so many studying materials.
There is a Gangchang mock exam too for California.
Ah, for CSE, I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know that. You want to talk maybe a little bit about Hyperfine, because I haven't.
Hyperfine, yes. Yeah. I used that for the technical exams. There was so much ground to cover. I didn't know where to start. And Hyperfine has like research guides, topic by topic. And it really, really helped to narrow down and focus on specific topics one at a time. And then it becomes manageable because it's biting in smaller pieces. So I highly, highly recommend Hyperfine.
And I think they have a lot of free resources on their website. Yeah, there are a lot of. Yes. So just talking about like materials, there are really a lot of free resources. So I would, and we are going to talk about more. So these are the third-party studying materials that are more of books, or like the Hyperfine is the online one. But there are some online studying materials, and I did use. I think I've almost used like most of these. The online studying materials is more of videos. So for me, if I'm studying using a book, I may get tired. Having access to videos, I think it's much easier to keep watching. Or at least like for me, I felt it was much easier when I did purchase the Umber book for my PDD exam. I purchased 1 month, and I basically watched all the videos, and I went and I took my exam. I felt this one was good, and there is Pluralsight. They do have some good videos. Black Spectacles, I think many of you are familiar with. The ARE's Bootcamp. This is Michael Risica, Young Architect Academy. So there are third-party materials, and again, all these are actually they all have free samples on YouTube, where you can watch some free videos, and some of them they actually have even free weekly or monthly seminar. I know that for Michael Ehrman, he does have some weekly or monthly seminar that he has on YouTube that
weekly, on the ARE Facebook group.
The ARE Facebook group.
40 minutes of competence, I think it's called, where he does one topic at a time.
Okay. Yeah, so this is one of them. Now, if you firm licenses, I know for many of these studying materials are more affordable. So one of the things, if you are working in an architectural firm, maybe ask your firm to purchase a firm license. Like for example, I know that the Umber book, it was like $400 per month per person, but for a firm, like firm license 1 to 15 people, is like $900 per year. So it's like maybe $80 per month. So it's much cheaper if you do a firm license. And then I think you might be surprised when you go to your, let's say, your principal, your project manager, and say, hey, I'm pursuing my AREs, and I think this is really good for our firm to have this one. Like I'm sure many would be willing to purchase like a firm license if any of these studying material is going to help you. So these are the third party. And moving on to NCARB, they do have their ARE 5.0 community, their demonstration mock exam, which is on your NCARB. Whenever you log to NCARB, you will find this is very similar to the actual exam. It's just for training. They have some prep video series. As Mariella was mentioning, there is an ARE Facebook group, which is really good. A lot of interactions happening there. There are a lot of free resources on YouTube that you can get. And we have a list here of, again, more studying materials that you can get.
There is the list of the free ones, the page with the free ones.
And there is a list of the free ones. I think this page, yeah. So this is the list of all the free resources that you can get.
Oh yeah, FEMA manuals. Those are a must. with all
These
the...
ones, yeah. Chef Harden lectures for PCM, PJM, and CE. These are really good. He go over the contracts one by one and a lot of legal concepts, and it's for free. These are free. Black Spectacles, they have their free lectures. So many, like, look for free resources. I would say first look for free resources. Second, check with your firm. Even for these books, even for the books that we talked about, you can ask your firm to actually buy it, because you can share it with other people, just to save on all these expenses. So going back to like the part 2, which is programming and analysis, this one is basically this is the first phase, right? You have a client coming to your office and you are starting the program. So this is the pre-design phase. This is where they test your knowledge on urban development. And this is one of the things that doesn't have much overlap, let's say, with PCM, PJM, and CE. That's why you can have it by itself, because it kind of covers the pre-design phase of a project. And here it talks like, let's say, site analysis, selection of structural system, and all the rest of the things. The last 2 exam, which is the third part, which again, we said this one makes sense to start. Before that, sorry. These are the resources for the PA, for programming and analysis. This one actually helped me a lot, problem seeking. And this one is a PDF you can find online for free. It's done by HOK. It's a really good document. It's I think like a 50-60 page document or 100-page document. And it talks about like what is programming. It give you this mindset of what is a program, like the problem seeking, because basically programming is seeking problem, while design is seeking the solution for that problem. And that's when we reach the design, that's when they are testing you on the PDD, on the PPD, the project planning and design. So these are the resources. I do have this one, Architectural Graphics Standard, the 10th edition. Actually, it's the best edition. This one is really important. So problem seeking, the Architectural Graphics Standards. IBR, just make sure you are being tested for IBC, not CBC, because we are in California, we use CBC, California Building Code, all the time. But the exam, because it's a nationwide exam, it's all about IBC. And again, these are the anchor primary resources. These are not third-party materials. These are, if you have these resources, this is also a really good book. The Francis Ching, Building Code Illustrated, and he has Building Construction Illustrated, which you can use it under the PDD and PDD. So if you want to take a snap of this list, these are the primary resources for PA. And for the third-party material, it's the same. Sorry.
I'm reading the chat here. Matt said you started PA not knowing all of this. Well, this is
I'm glad we were, a little bit helpful.
Yeah.
With this information.
And Elizabeth is sharing another good source. You can share it. If everyone can see this in the chat, she is sharing another good resource.
Yeah, so if anyone has really any other resources, please feel free to share it in the chat, or even if you want to email me after this. The whole idea of these sessions is for knowledge sharing. The more we can share things, the better it is. So the last portion, the PPD and PDD, this one have, so the project planning and design, this is the preliminary design. So we did programming in PA, and now we are starting the design of the project, all the options and all what you need to know about like codes, about barrier-free design, MEP, structural systems. So all like selecting all these systems. But although this is the first part, and the second part is the project development and documentation, which is, this is the DD phase and the CD phase. This is when they test you on waterproofing, where to put your flashing, how to detail this, how to detail this canopy. They test you on like some structural elements. This one have like all the like the lateral forces. And I remember I got questions from, they were supposed to be a PDD questions in my PPD exam. Like these two exams for me were very much mixed. So I was really glad that I studied both of them together, because it had the same structural questions, the same questions for like all these materials and finishes and detailing. It came into both exams. But again, the focus.
I want to say though that there is a difference, and in the first one, PD, this one is the design phase.
Mm-hmm.
So they test you on knowledge of different systems and how they work well with each other, so that you choose which one would work for this situation or which other one. Whereas the other one, the other exam, is a lot more in detail. So there is a lot of construction details where you have to see if there are mistakes or if there's something missing. Fun stuff.
Yeah. So it's basically this is your preliminary and maybe schematic design. This is more of your CDs. This is when you are doing the CDs and you have to, solve every single detail. But again, there is a really big overlap. That's why it makes sense to kind of study them together, but then have the focus, what's the focus of this exam and what's the focus of this exam. And these are the resources for both exams. Again, so the architectural graphics standard is with these two exams and with the PA. So this resource is for all three of them. Again, you have IBC, not CBC. This is the second, these are the two books from Ching, the Building Construction Illustrated and Building Code Illustrated. And I remember these weren't expensive. They were like maybe $40 each. They are not too expensive.
They're great books to have, even.
Yes. I actually do have 1, 2, 3 in my library. Yeah. I did rent NEEB, and one of the things you can actually guys do is to rent books instead of like buying them. There are many sites, many websites, including Amazon. You would rent a book for like 6 months, and the book like this NEEB, I think it costs like $200 or $300. It's too expensive, and it's a big book. But you would rent this book for like let's say $20, $25 for like 6 months. So you don't really need to own it. I did buy the Architectural Graphics Standard just because it's a nice book to have as an architect. Third-party material, again, it's basically the same for all of them. Just wanted to say one last thing is you can actually take the exam online. So you can take the exam in a Prometric center, just like we used to do. All the Prometric centers are open. You just need to put your mask and go take the exam there. If you are not comfortable, you can take the exam home through the online proctoring. There is a little video. This one I actually got from YouTube. It talks about how to set your area. And just an idea for people with, let's say, kids, or you cannot do it home and you cannot do it in a like in a center. Maybe you can check a meeting room in your firm and you just prep it to take the exam. Actually, it's like a 1-hour video. Maybe we can watch a little of it. And I'll actually put the link in the chat.
Using the webcam on the student's computer, the platform can identify the exam taker and monitor during the exam for any unusual behavior. But what happens behind the computer? By adding a second camera placed behind the exam taker, the entire room is visible during the exam. This can be any smart device, like a mobile phone or a tablet. Finally, we monitor everything on the computer screen through our web browser add-on. Proctor Exam is completely web-based on any operating system. Nothing is downloaded on the computer. To get started, a quick system check will make sure the exam taker's computer is ready, that the microphone is on, the internet connection is working, screen sharing is activated, and that the app on the smart device is linked. When it's time for the exam, a step-by-step tutorial will take the exam taker through the setup process, asking them to identify themselves, show the room, including the ceiling and under the table, to make sure there's no one hiding there to help them. They'll then be asked to place the smart device behind them for the duration of the exam. Activate flight mode, turn on Wi-Fi, and plug it in. There are many ways to prop up the smart device. Be creative. The exam taker can now start.
Yeah, so this is basically the like the online exam. So whatever is easier for you, if you want to go to the testing center or if you want to do it at your house, or maybe like in a meeting room in your firm, whatever is easier, as long as they have all these rules that there should be no people in the room with you. So that's what you want to make sure of. So I think that would bring us to the, yeah, I just wanted to share maybe another tip. When they ask you in the exam to round to the, so just make sure when you read the question, it says, let's say, round to the nearest 10th, round to the nearest 10th. Don't give more digits, because everything is automated, and the basically that automated system is the system should be only accepting, like, it's only looking at this number. So if this is 56, round it to 6, and instead of giving the whole, let's say 56 or 56.7, just to make sure you are following exactly what they are saying, saying in the exam. One of the other things, when they say check all that apply, just make sure your question, when it says, is it a single choice or is it a multiple choice? Because sometimes you would choose one of the choices and then you didn't like read, you missed that there are 2 choices or 3 choices, and they don't really give you, let's say, a partial like a partial credit. You either get the point for the question or you don't. So you want to make sure you are reading the question correct. I think just to, it's because it's 6:15, 6:17. Let's move to the rooms, to the breakout rooms, which would be our next. These were some tips from how to get studying materials. So firm library, your local chapter library, borrow from friends, rent, buy used books, and check for PDFs. So I will share the screen again for basically the last steps. So hopefully at this point you guys took everyone else contact info. Now just to help with that even more, we do have this. You want to explain the Excel sheet, Mariella?
Sorry, what is it?
You want to explain the Excel sheet?
Oh, yes, sure. So please fill out this Excel sheet. The more information you put in here, the easier it is for other people to find you and contact you. And if you click which one is your next exam, you can organize yourselves to meet, and you can have a different mailing list per group. But of course, once you finished one group of exams and you go on to the next one, you join the group for the next one. This is alive, and it changes and evolves as we all do and move through these exams.
So I just shared it with everyone. Please make sure you click the link and you open this one and you do have access to it. Yeah, I see people are starting.
Wonderful,
okay,
wonderful.
Okay.
If you
just
start
make sure you have access to this document, start putting your name, email address, and put which group, which exam, so you know like within which part you are. And there are other sheets.
Can you go to the previous page of the slides?
Okay, yeah, sure.
So when you are in the group, there is a few things that are fundamental for the group to work. In the previous one, 57, please, Mohammed. Yeah, that one. So the group is to study together, to do something, but also to be accountable for each other. So that means that in the weekly meeting, you will check in with each other how your study is going. If it's not going good, then honestly say it's not going good, because the next week it will go better. And you can share what is difficult for you, what you couldn't do, and why you think, and you will get feedback and encouragement from the rest of the group. That is the key. Help each other to stay focused and positive. Beyond that meeting for accountability, you can organize as many study sessions as you would like. And you can also make a calendar and schedule who is going to host which one. so you get prepared for that. You can also share the file that Mohammed was showing. And now if you don't mind going back, I will talk about
to
that.
the file? Okay.
Yeah, the file. So
I see people putting their names. That's cool.
wonderful. Yeah, that's great. We can put our own info there if anybody has questions to ask us.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Another good thing to share with within each group is a file such as this. In the second page, you have syllabus. So the next thing to do is for you as a group to organize the studying throughout the weeks. How will you cover the subjects and how much reading is expected for each week? Put dates, and it may take you between 8 and 10 weeks to cover all the subjects and go through with follow-up questions and answers in between. Think about studying like filling a cup that has a tiny hole in the bottom, and you need to fill it faster than it empties. If it takes too long, you forget where you started, and you lose track from where you are. So you have to compress it in time, but give yourself enough time to cover everything and go confident to the exam. And then in this file, each participant may have a time log. And this file is shared with each other. You share this and everyone can see everyone's time log. And I know it sounds intimidating, but it is effective. Is everyone still there?
Yeah, I see everyone on the line. Do we want to talk about the part? So this is participant time log.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
so here is where you make a schedule of every day in week 1 and week 2 and week 3, and you lock down the time you studied. You can even divide it up and say, okay, I watched video, did questions and answers, and research a subject. However you do it, this is your own decision. The important thing is sharing it with the rest of the group. And then I encourage you to pick a date for taking your exam and putting it there too. Your group is your most important ally, and everyone will be cheering for you and thinking of you the day of the exam, and you'll do this as a team.
Yeah, and as Mariela was talking about scheduling your exam, I used to do this. I used to, even before finishing my study, I used to schedule an exam, because we as architects, if we don't have a deadline, we're not going to study. So I would, like I would schedule an exam, and then I'm pushing myself. And sometimes if things happen, you can always reschedule, but you do not want to spend a lot of money rescheduling. So you would be pushing yourself. It's always good to have a deadline and to say my next exam is, let's say, April 10th or May 1st. It's always good just to have that one on your calendar, and you are phasing yourself to study, and you are telling your group that, hey, this is the time I'm taking my exam. So they know your pace. So everyone is knowing the second person pace. Now I will, just to respecting everyone time, we will end here. I wanted to share the last slide that we have, which both Mariela email and maybe take a snap of this one, or I can I'll put it in the group chat.
Yeah, or in the file. We could put it in the file too.
And we'll put it in the file. Yeah, we'll put it in the file. And this is mine, so I copied my email and phone number, Mariela email and phone number. Please feel free, especially for, I know we have 3 people who need, who had the questions for eligibility. Feel free to email me, call me. I will help you out with your eligibility. I know there are so many ways there to establish your eligibility, so I may give you some kind of a shortcut.
I have a quick question, Mohammed, if
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
How are we going to get contact we are from our group or from the group leader?
So the group you attended, do you have a group leader in your group? Was there someone assigned as a group leader who will start because one of the group leaders would start the communication, the email. Just start an email chain and CC me in that email chain.
I got transferred late, I think a little late in the group, so
okay.
I'm not
You
sure.
are a PCM, right? Just put your
PCM,
name
correct.
here with the PCM. And
okay.
please, the PCM group, please include Manuel in your group, in your email. So I would give like maybe another half an hour for people to put all their information, and then whoever is the group leader, or even if a group leader was not assigned, just one of you just take the initiative and copy the people who are in your group, copy the name and send a group email to start the scheduling for your next session. Let's say you guys want to agree on next Tuesday, next Wednesday to have your first group study session, because like really want to put this into action. The minute you sleep on this, it's not going to happen. Just send the email tonight, pick a day, and you as a group agree on some time. You even can use Google Doodle. If anyone of you know how to use Google Doodle for bigger group, that's an easy way to have like a time, or you can just pick a time that's after, like at least for the first meeting, maybe do 6 to 7 on, I don't know, Wednesday, Tuesday. So it's after work hour. It should work with everyone's schedule.
I want to add one more thing. Please be mindful and respectful of each other. If you agree on a meeting day and you cannot make it, please let the group know. So they're not expecting you, or they are not knowing if you're going to show up or not. Make a chat group so that you are in communication with each other. Each one in the group is responsible for the morale of the whole group, the commitment, the responsibility. It is on each one's shoulder. And the group is what is going to make you move forward and go through this successfully.
Yep, and I will put my name here and Mariela's name and contact info. Yep. So any one of you, if you need help with anything, just feel free to reach out. Also, I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I think Mariela is the same. Yes. So I would be posting any new events, let's say any new ARA study sessions. I will be post these on LinkedIn. So just connect with me. Just put my name on LinkedIn. You will be able to connect with me. You can text me there or send me messages or anything. Just one more thing to connect and to get your information. I think that's it. Anyone has any question, anything else? I really want to say a big thank you to all of you for attending. And we are really here to help you out. And I want to say a big thank you to Mariela for investing her time and really preparing many of these slides and putting things together. I'm really glad she's helping out. It's
my pleasure, because this time it's my turn to be helping out. I got that before.
And if any of you feel he has enough knowledge to help out, or you guys want to help out with the study session, just let me know. We will need everyone's help. So again, just reach out to me or to Mariela for any questions you have, and make sure to fill up this document and to fill up your information and start the whole working with the group. Start the group email and CC me on that group email. I just want to kind of see the progress that we are actually going into groups.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate everyone's time, and good luck. Hopefully within, I'll see you all licensed architects. With exams.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Mariela.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
Good luck to everyone. Good luck to everyone. We all went through this, and nobody is smarter than you. Nobody. You guys are smarter than me or anyone else. So I'm sure you guys, you got this.
Mm-hmm.
And we are here to help again. Yeah. So have a good night, and yeah, just
you.
feel free to reach at any time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.